Greetings and welcome to another episode of Sonic Odyssey, the music video channel dedicated to bringing you the last 5 decades or so of music in review and discussion format. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Basically, I try to cover a variety of genres of music, everything from country and western through extreme forms of metal. Today we're going to be looking at one of those slightly extreme forms, not very extreme, but we'll get into that in just a minute after we get the housekeeping out of the way. As always, I would ask that you please like the video by clicking the thumbs up button. Share the video with your friends through social media networks. You can click the share button below the video, and you can share through Facebook, Twitter, and other social media networks. And also please subscribe to the channel. That way each time I post a new video you'll get a notification. If you click that little bell icon right next to the subscription button, you'll get a little pop-up notification that I've put a new video up. And lastly, for the housekeeping, I would ask you to please consider visiting my Patreon page. You can do so by clicking the link in the show description right below the video. You can join up on Patreon. You can have your name listed in each video end credits, and you can also go so far as to select an album for me to review. I would greatly appreciate your patronage. Nonetheless, please do like, share, and subscribe, and also please feel free to comment in the comments section below. I greatly appreciate interacting with you and look forward to your comments. That is the housekeeping out of the way. Let's get to today's topics. Today we're going to be talking about an Australian band which is in the melancholic melodic death metal genre, and they go by the name of Bellacore. They've been around since 2004, and they've had a very consistent output of music. They first released their first album in 2007, and it was entitled The Frail Tide, and it was pretty widely well received. It was followed up by what is probably considered some of their better material, their second album, Stone's Reach, and their probably most highly critically acclaimed album of Breath and Bones in 2012. They released Vessels in 2016, and now we're up to 2021, and the album we'll be looking at today, which is entitled Coherence. Since 2004, the band has had a very consistent lineup, only having one change in the position of drummer in 2015. The current lineup consists of George Cosmos on vocals, guitars, and Sean Sykes on guitars, Elliot Sampson on drums, Steve Merry on keyboards and piano, and John Richardson on bass. Coherence is an album that is very long. That's one thing to point out. It is 8 tracks in length, and it does have 3 instrumental tracks on it. The first instrumental track is the second track of the album, and it's called The Dispersion, and it's a piano and a little bit of strings. Quite frankly, it's not the most powerful of tracks. It doesn't detract from the experience of the album. It's not out of character with what the band has done in previous releases, but it is just a 2-minute piece that feels like if it were not there, not much would have been lost, and that's sad to say. But it is followed by the song, the third song, Foothold, and we're going to give a little bit of a listen to that right now.
Looking back, I will see every rose set off. The first breaking trail, of course, I could not.
As you can hear in that snippet that I played for you, you get a little bit of spoken word over the soundscape, and at the very end of the sound snippet you get a little bit of the growls from George coming in. The music shows the diversity in style and tenor, and that melancholic melodeath sound is really strongly present. And another element of Bellacor's style is that they are kind of progressive. I don't think that they're the most progressive death band or metal, progressive death metal band out there, but they have progressive elements in their songwriting, and that does come through a little bit. But a surprising feature of the album Coherence is that almost all of the songs make use of the 12/8 time signature. That's kind of a good signature, a good time signature for this style of music, but it's also a little bit of a curiosity to stick to just the one time signature for such lengthy periods in most of the songs. There's a little change here or there, but in the album, but it is for the most part in 12/8 time. Foothold is followed by a personal favorite track of mine on the album entitled Valence, and the thing I like about the song is the lyrics, which George does a great job of. Even though he's growling, the vocals are fairly clean and come through intelligibly and coherently enough that you shouldn't have a problem following the story. And it's that story that I enjoy. It sort of reminds me of the literature of Clark Ashton Smith, or maybe possibly H.P. Lovecraft, but really leaning more towards Clark Ashton Smith. It has a sort of hauntingness to it, a otherworldliness, and this unknown element of the supernatural is apparent in the song, and it's a really nice piece, which is followed by another instrumental called Sweep of Days. And this one is a little bit more guitar driven, a little bit more in keeping with the normal style for Bellacor's musical output. And then we get into another vocal track, Hidden Window, and then another instrumental track, Indelible, which is a little monotonish in certain fashion, but it does help the album. I suppose, again, I feel that the three instrumental pieces just could have been omitted. It would have dropped the album time down, which is never necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I love an album in the area of, say, 30 minutes to 45, 50 minutes. An album that goes over an hour, you really want it to have a strong continuity or diversity to it, something that brings you and holds you and makes you want to still, at that length, listen to it again. And I don't have that feeling with Coherence, so I feel that maybe the album might have been a little bit better had the instrumental tracks been snipped off and just focused on the lyric tracks, because the last track, which we're going to listen to a snippet of in a minute, which is entitled Much More Was Lost, is the longest song that Bellacore has ever recorded at over 12 minutes, and it is quite a sprawling epic for them, and does have a diversity of sonic soundscapes, and we're going to give a little bit of a listen to that right now.
Whatever is joined won't come apart. Whatever is gathered will disperse. Whatever is high will fall.
here in this sound snippet we get more, acoustic and electric guitar interplay and spoken word over the music. The music eventually gets into a much heavier riff, showing the dynamism of the band, and this is what Be'lakor brings to the table in general. I think Coherence as an album is probably not their strongest release, and it is unfair to expect every album that they release to be of the quality of Breath and Bone, or to be, to surpass that quality. But it is still a strong output from one of the most truly important and significant bands in the melodeath genre. Be'lakor has generally a melodeath sound, and it's not too dissimilar to the American band Coherence, which actually I did a video of their assorted jams almost 2 years ago now. Please feel free to go back and check that out in my video library, which there's a link for in the show description below. They are a very dynamic band and important in the genre. They are often compared to bands such as Insomnium or Omnium Gatherum, but they do have their own style and their own sound. But it is definitely a unique and honest sound, and a sound that really does bring you into their music. It is very catchy music and very listenable music. The quality of it is superb. Their musicianship is outstanding, but it's just not the best that they can do, I fear. And so it's rare for me to do this, but I am going to give this album just 3.5 out of 5 stars. I do still strongly recommend it because I feel that it is worth your time. Check out their back catalog as well, and you can get a feel for how this does show their progression. And I think it does show a band in maturation. They know their songwriting style, they know their sound, and they present it marvelously here on Coherence. But I just don't feel that it has enough of a unique stamp all its own that it deserves a higher grade. So again, 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I do strongly recommend it. And that would be Coherence by Be'lakor 2021. And you can get it on iTunes. I'm sure it's available on Spotify. I know it's available on Amazon and Bandcamp, and probably wherever you get your digital music, or if you look for it in the stores, possibly you can find it there as well. And I thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope that you will please like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below, please. And also please consider taking a look at my Patreon page. Your patronage would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, peace and be well. Bye-bye.